So, how are you feeling?
Oh, feeling like I need to remain as present as possible because this feels like a very important time, and my future self is telling me be very present here and really understand everything that's going on. So I feel very happy to be alive. I feel very light. A little hungry, but you know.
Yeah. Well, you get your food, right? I hope you order something after this.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You know it.
Perfect. All right. So I want to know more about your project. So what's it called?
Okay, so the current installation that we're doing at DUMBO House is called FBF MA Presents The Secret Life of Metal Botanical. And it is a 1-week installation that is encompassed. It's all about the growth of an artist and another artist rediscovering their love for a material. So it has like a dual purpose, I would say. Me being the first artist that I mentioned, you know, me moving into new spaces within my art form and understanding different just spectrums of my art. And my dad, who's rediscovering his love for the art form of metal. There are a bunch of metal vines that are taking over DUMBO House.
Yeah, I saw. They're so beautiful.
Starting with the library.
And the way they catch the light and reflect it.
Ooh.
Stunning.
And then in the daytime, the way it looks against the blue wall in the sun, like it's beautiful. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so so the installation is happening, like, this being performance art. You're, like, working on it here, hanging out, making it happen in real time, and people get to watch you.
Absolutely. It's ever evolving, right? And that could mean anything from me adding a completely new vine by the end of the week, or that could just be me as I'm walking through, because every day, about 4 times a day, I do maintenance, right? That's what I call it, sculptural maintenance. So I would move a flower or open a flower or like close a flower, because just like actual flowers, if you do a time lapse throughout the day, they're moving, they're in motion.
They're dynamic.
So, absolutely. So, ever evolving. So, yes, performance art, for sure. Performance art.
Okay. And so you mentioned your dad. I did some research. I saw, like, that your dad is a metal worker. And so, when did you first start working with metal?
12 years ago. 2011. Actually, no, 2011 is when I solidified the brand. Like I said, this is, you know, what this is. But a few years before that, I started tinkering with metal a bit, and it's just naturally out of every other material I took to it. But I would really have to say, if we're going back and also being more intentional about that answer, I started tinkering with metal when I was like 4 or 5, and watching my dad tinker with metal. Like, but he was tinkering with his hands, and I was tinkering with my mind. You know,
you're like,
and
what if I did that?
Yeah, like, what is that? You know, because he'd put a big welding shield on me, tell me to go stand in the corner so I'm not close. And then he would weld, and I would just like watch these flames come out of his hand. And as a 4-year-old, you're like, he has fire coming out of his hands.
Just like a little 4-year-old child.
Right, like hands behind your back, like, and the flames and the sparks, that it took me.
That must have been so fascinating.
Whoa, yeah. I can close my eyes and still see that, but it's funny because I'm seeing it from the height of a 4-year-old. Like, I'm not seeing it from an adult.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That's like definitely something that you could probably explore in like a future project, like the way that your relationship with metalworking has changed.
Yeah, wow, absolutely.
So my next question is like, okay, so would you define yourself as an artist?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so when did you first have that realization that, oh wait, I'm an artist?
Ooh, one of the greatest friends that I feel like I'll ever have in this lifetime. He was the one that helped me to recognize that I was an artist. And before, I was studying like fashion business, and like, you know, I'm a business girl, so this is what I was doing.
And that you are.
Yeah, you know, and I'm creating these things, and I wasn't considering myself an artist. It was just like, I'm a maker. But then conversation after conversation with him helped me to, actually see what I was, who I was in that space, because he's also an artist. So I'm like, you kind of feel a little weird tapping into that title because you feel like it's like something bestowed upon you. But I think it's more so of a imposter syndrome that keeps us from actually claiming that title. So I claimed it and I stuck with it. Didn't look back.
Amen. Well, I love that for you.
Thank you.
And I feel that, like, I don't know, just watching you move about, there's artistry in everything you do. So give yourself more credit.
Thank you.
Beyond that, okay, this is one of my favorite questions. What inspires your creativity?
Some nature, sunsets, good food, good conversations, textiles, textures, mountains, and like waterfall rivers. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of things that make you feel small.
Yes, because I love that. It's so humbling and it's so correct. When I was younger, I didn't like that. Like in my 20s, I'm like, nope, because you have this ego the size of, that you're so great. And when you look up at the sky at night in the woods or like somewhere that's not the city, and you see how vast it is, humbling.
Yeah, you're humbled and you're reminded of your insignificance in the world.
Oof, and that is such a great feeling, like you are significant, but also still very small in this large scope, this larger picture. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, all right, so do you have any other mediums that you dabble in?
Craft things, or just in general?
Anything.
I love cooking. I always said if I wasn't doing this, I would dive into. I'd probably have like a restaurant or something.
Oh my goodness, that's so awesome.
Because anything that I do, anything that I think like alternate life, I have to think business as well too, because that's just the way my brain works. I'll come up with a recipe and I'm like, ooh, maybe I could have a tiny cafe, a 4-person cafe where it's very exclusive. Not sun sign, but there is Virgo in there. I think it's an ascending sign. That's you caught that. It's in there.
But sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
So yeah, you would be business, cooking, and like a little cafe.
Something, that ties into hospitality, but like something where I'm feeding and nurturing people.
I love that.
Love cooking.
And I definitely relate to that because I love cooking for others more than for myself.
Come on, the happiness on their face when they eat.
Or when they just shut up and they just can't stop.
That's it, yeah. Yep.
All right, and so, this is a personal take real quick. I feel that art should be evocative. And when I see good art, like, I want to feel something. I want to think about something. And so the question to follow up with is, what kind of feelings do you want to arouse in those that view your art?
I want them to feel some sort of love, whether it be for the art or for themselves. Or some sort of motivation to like want to do something themselves. Something that ties back to them actualizing something on their own. And just seeing like, hey, like, look at this thing. Like, this is fire, but I got a cool idea that I'm about to go and kill.
Yeah.
Because I've been there before where creatives or artists that I really have looked up to in the past or in the future, whatever, throughout my life, when I see them like actualize something on a grand scale, I'm like, holy shit, I need to go back and get my cards together for real, because I love that. I love that they did this, that, and that, like Tyler, the Creator, like him and his team.
Yeah.
I'm manifesting a collaboration with the Metal Flowers and LaFleur, his Flower Boy situation. We're gonna call that in Jesus.
Yeah. You already have it. It's already happening.
It's already there. It's already in the works. And this is the beginning of
the
that.
moves are being made.
Yes, girl.
And okay, that's awesome. And so, when you're creating, what are some of the greatest challenges you feel you face, and how have those challenges evolved over time?
When I'm creating, what's a challenge? Oh, okay. And how have those challenges evolved over time? In the beginning, I would say the challenge was just trusting myself as an artist. As I told you, I had that struggle with identifying myself as such. So naturally it comes I don't trust this thing to be the complete thing, because I don't really know what it's like to be a quote-unquote artist. And I feel like as a quote-unquote artist, I would be doing more, or there should be more here, you know?
Yeah.
That was me with me. And it's such harmful self-talk, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the strict parent that never gives you like
any
hug,
affirmation,
no
any affection.
affirmation, no affection. It's just like, do good in school, be a good person, this, that, strict.
And that's
like, bro, I just want a hug.
Right. Like,
just hug me, you know? But yeah, I would say affirming myself was a challenge, but I'm getting a lot better at it.
Nice.
I catch myself now. If I hear myself tell myself a thing that's a little harsh, I would find ways to love on myself and be like, yo, you've done a lot, so just relax.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel that, like, you know, we were mentioning, like, Jesus, you know, earlier. I'm like, I feel that, personally, I think Jesus, like, being someone that was raised Christian and, like, was exposed to the gospel growing up, I think about how Jesus was a very compassionate person. He tried to be very understanding, and, you know, something that I like to make myself aware of is that inner monologue, that dialogue that I have with myself. And I think, okay, how would Jesus speak to me if I were to let him know how I'm feeling? If I told him, like, Jesus, I'd feel really bad about myself. Jesus, I feel like I'm not doing enough. And, you know, he would speak to me compassionately. He would tell me, give yourself more credit. Be kinder towards yourself. Show yourself more compassion. And that has helped me adjust that inner monologue. Yeah. And that, sorry to, like, take it to me, but, you know, I'm like...
I love that. I felt that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And thank you. So I'm going to ask you a couple more questions.
All right, I'm here for it.
So let's take it to something a little lighter.
Okay.
If you could hang out with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Salvador Dali. He's my... the artist of artists to me is him, because his mind was so peculiar. Like, the photo of him walking in New York with the anteater on the leash, like, that was one of my first visions of this weirdo with this stash. I wouldn't even bring him to DUMBO House, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We would go... Sorry, DUMBO House, but...
No.
Salvador Dali, I would take Salvador Dali to my studio, to the atelier, and we would have vegan Thai iced teas with coconut milk.
Oh, that sounds so good.
I have them all the time when I'm up there at Mrs. Ann Thai. Shout out to Mrs. Ann Thai. And we would just talk about metal and the world of metal. So yeah, that's who I would hang out with and what I would do.
That's awesome. I love that answer. And I just also love that there was absolutely no hesitation.
Yeah, nope.
Whatsoever. Not like not even a full second. That was really awesome. I'm glad I recorded that.
Thank you.
And have you been to the Salvador Dali Museum in St. Augustine?
I have not.
In St. Augustine, Florida, there's a whole museum dedicated to him.
Oh my God.
Like, I think you would really love it.
Shit.
And, you know, it's in the sun. Like, I think it's by the ocean. So you get, like, beautiful views also.
Florida, you said?
Okay. And Friday in Florida.
Hey,
on a Friday.
Hey,
at the Salvador Dali Museum.
Weekend, John.
Okay, so what advice do you have for those that are just starting out in metalworking?
This is a great question. A very on-time question, by the way, because I'm in the space of... I'm in the part of my journey where I am building community around other metal artisans, so I like that question. Advice... just try it. Try the thing. Try the weird thing. Don't be afraid to, like, stray away from technical when it comes to, because metalworking is very technical, like whether you're welding or, for me, it was chainmail weaving, right? There's a specific way to do it, and you do it that way.
Yeah.
But I took the weirder approach, and I like fucked up the pattern sometimes, and like those were the best, most artsiest sculptural gowns and tops and such that I made, when I'm just like, I'm gonna remove this part and just put it right here on the shoulder, and just was comfortable with that. So I'd say try the thing. Don't be afraid of testing out new concepts and theories and straying away from what you were taught. And you are an artist as well, even though you're a metal worker and people would just kind of classify you as like, iron person or like welder. Like, you are an artist first, because what you're doing is an art form, and the way your brain works is an art form. So yeah,
and it's creation.
It's creation. At the end of the day, it is creation. For real.
And let's see, I think how do your loved ones best support your creative process?
I would say my nook, my close family, my dad, my mom, and my sister, very supportive. As you can see, my dad has joined me post-retirement, to help to grow this business as a metal artisan, and that's so exciting. My mom, she's not my apprentice, but she is a support system for both of us, and her, on her end, she taught me a lot about curation of spaces, because growing up, lower middle class, I guess, family, you're making things work, right? It's not that we didn't have, but we weren't wealthy Upper East Side kids, right? So every birthday she would have birthday parties for us, and she would sit us down and she would say, okay, so what color do you want? What kind of cake do you want? What kind of food do you want to eat? And we would have these little like event planning meetings, and you don't know that that's what was happening, but she was being so intentional about how she knew we would feel if on your birthday the balloons are blue, I got that pineapple cake that I wanted, and there's barbecue chicken. Like, this is the best day ever because of that. So and then my sister, she is the reason why I even got into fashion business, because when I was applying to high school, the fashion industries, I wanted to be a designer. I said, I'm going to do design. She signed me up for business, and I got in for business, and I was pissed. I was like, how dare you? And she's like, you're going to thank me later. And I'm always thanking her, because it really made me who I am. So, my people support me, and I support them.
And let's get ready to wrap up really quickly. So my last question is, how do you want to be remembered?
Legacy, right? Fun. I'll just give you words.
Yeah.
Fun. Full of love. A mentor, a guide, whether it be in this physical realm or spiritual realm. And lastly, a good friend. I do love my people. I'm not perfect, none of us are, but I do love my people, and I think it's necessary to build bonds and friendships that have good foundations and that can last.
That's what we all want.
That's what we all want. That's it. At the end of the day,
we are social creatures.
We are social creatures, and whether these relationships are platonic or romantic, that friendship, even if it's a stranger or someone who lives on my block, just being friendly, it's a beautiful thing. And it's what my dad taught me, because all of the things I named is basically bringing this full circle. Is basically him. He's the mentor. He's the fun guy. He's the chef in the family. He is the friend of that people come to. So, you know, I guess I just like watched him and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do a woman version of this.
Yeah.
You know, with cute shoes and stuff.
You know, I love my cute shoes.
Come on. I see. I've been staring at it the whole time. Like, wow, that's a good combo.
Yeah, I feel like I'm giving a schoolgirl today.
Very Gossip Girl. It's given full Gossip Girl episode.
Very like, don't play with me.